Hello. Hey guys, it's been a while, about a month, to be exact, from this. I really like Pizza Towers. I was really, so throughout pretty much the entirety of April, I was in Japan. I got the opportunity to go, and I just took it. And I had an unforgettable experience. You can see some of the wonderful pictures of glorious Nippon behind me. It's a trip that I will never, ever forget. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm genuinely very happy that I got to do it. This looks like shit. Look up an actual tutorial whenever you want to wrap something like this. Otherwise, you'll look like a fucking bozo like me. Problem with the trip though is that I didn't really have a lot of time to make videos. That's actually kind of why I had to put together that Slapdash Pizza Tower one. I like this one because it's it's now the video you're about to watch. I have had in the back of my mind since maybe October, November, and before I left, I actually recorded my entire script, but it was at a place with a different mic setup, not with this wonderful, beautiful thing I have right here. Mwah. So it's going to sound a little different. I hope that's okay. I think it still sounds fine, but I'm just going to sound a little different than usual, and I'm still getting used to the new editing software, so it's going to sound a little whack, but I hope it doesn't bother you. If it bothers you, but I just wanted to give a little sit-down talk, really stand-up talk with you guys, mostly because the original intro got completely messed up due to audio problems because I wasn't used to the mic. Anyways, here we are. We're gonna get talking about Daredevil, the blindest man in fiction.
They say justice is also blind, so I like to think it gives me a leg up on the competition.
Created by Stan Lee and artist Bill Everett in 1964, Daredevil is one of Marvel's oldest and long-lasting characters and is probably their most well-known street-level hero outside of Spider-Man.
You know what we call that? We call that a web-slinging, ass-kicking.
All Hornhead's books are home to some of Marvel's best street-level stories, at least in my opinion. They contain amazing moments, introduce memorable and beloved characters, and also have an insane pedigree to them. Industry legends such as Ann Nocenti, Roy Thomas, Mark Waid, John Romita Sr. and Jr., Klaus Janson, and of course, you can't talk Daredevil without bringing up Frank Miller. Author and artist of such works such as Sin City, 300, Ronin, and most famous of all, Holy Terror. And some Batman stuff too, I guess. Frank's legendary work with the character defined so much of his current public perception and helped flesh out Matt Murdock even more. If you know Daredevil now, it's more than likely because of Miller's work. Now, I'll admit that I haven't read everything, really only Frank Miller's run and a bit of the old Roy Thomas, Gene Colan era stuff, but I love this character. Matt Murdock is such an interesting protagonist that carries more Catholic guilt than your average horror movie. My first introduction to him was in the first Neversoft Spider-Man game, specifically the N64 version, and then on the in the Spider-Man animated series show. I thought he looked badass. His powers were unique and really, really cool. Those were the opinions of a 12-year-old, and they still carry to this day.
You're welcome to follow me. but watch your step.
Could you hold my hand, please? I ended up reading some of his comics here and there, mainly stuff from Mark Waid's run, but it wasn't until recently when I read all of Frank Miller's work that I truly became a fan of his. Now, Dee Dee has always been a popular character. Hell, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are a direct parody of Frank Miller's Daredevil work. However, he was never Spider-Man or X-Men popular. He never had his own video game or toy line or TV show, though they did try, it just didn't pan out. He was always more of a supporting character to popular heroes in other media, which is fine. He plays the role well, gives enough intrigue, he's a cool enough character. But you would think a character with as prolific of a publication history as his would have found a way to hit it with the general public. Well, eventually, he did. In 2015 with the Netflix show, not this fucking thing. Daredevil, the movie, starring Batman. If you would like to know my thoughts in a nutshell, here is a recreation of my first viewing.
What's this?
Oh, it's for my mother. For good luck.
Wait a minute.
It's a good luck charm, huh?
This movie sucks! Daredevil is wretched, an awful, no good, misbegotten thing that has no idea what it wants to be. The film is about Daredevil, aka Matt Murdock, aka Ben Affleck, aka the guy that says this in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Nights like this, I miss dating a lesbian.
And after his grand introduction, we're immediately thrown into a flashback, showing his life as a scrappy little bright-eyed guy. Probably shouldn't use that one. He's getting his ass kicked by a group of bullies, a harsh preview of his future, and goes home to his washed-up loser father, Jack the Devil Murdock.
I told you I didn't want you fighting.
They said that you work for Fallon. That you're one of his guys now.
You think I'd be pulling double overtime down at the docks if I was working for Fallon? What are you, nuts?
Matt then finds his dad shanking people down for Fallon.
Dad?
Okay, I got it. Matt? Matt!
Well, yeah, he's running now. I hope nothing bad happens to him. Why was all that shit there? Where was
At the
he?
docks.
Matt Murdock is now blind. And after having all of his senses assaulted, especially that one, he soon finds that he has developed a radar sense, meaning that even though he's as blind as a bat, he can see like a bat, utilizing his other four senses to do things such as beat a bag, grind on a rail, find Stan Lee, and of course, do a flash kick. This isn't even the only time he does this in the movie. He and his dad eventually start repairing their relationship, and they start really getting into their roles well, and, you know, it seems like life is going pretty well for them. Then his dad dies because he didn't want to throw a fight for Hector, and that... I don't know why I wrote that. I've never watched Breaking Bad. That death leaves a profound impact on Matt, leading him to pursue a law degree and further developing his own fighting ability, to fight injustice both in and out of the courtroom, to become Hell Kitchen's own guardian devil, Daredevil. I meant to say Hell's Kitchen, by the way. I don't know why I did that. We then cut to the present, though not the current present, but the past, present, and we're I don't know. We're still in a flashback, and we're now in a meeting room in a community college where Matt is trying to throw the book at guilty sex offender Jose Quesada.
That's enough.
The truth is, Mr. Murdoch, is that Miss Sutton enjoyed every minute of it.
Why did you let them do that? Joe ends up walking, probably because of the Kingpin, I don't know. So Matt decides to take matters into his own hands. He goes home and suits up in a pretty decent suit-up montage, if I'm being honest, and goes to confront him at a bar, and this scene kind of goes crazy. There's pretty decent fight choreography. I really like the shitty nu metal blasting, and it's just over. That's weird. I feel like something is missing. It doesn't seem like that should go on a little more. What? Oh well, no time for that. Murder! Here we meet Ben Ulrich, a chain-smoking reporter that's been following Daredevil's acts of vigilantism. And I'm going to be straight with you. He's only in this movie like 4 times.
There is no...
Elektra.
What are you...
Blind? Yeah.
I am so sorry.
That's okay.
After this initial meeting, Matt becomes enthralled with Elektra and proceeds to do the only logical thing that any man would do in this situation. Decides to be a little fucking creep and follow Elektra to a playground. And proceed to do what I can only describe as a thing that reminded me of the Catwoman movie basketball scene. You don't want to remind me of the Catwoman movie basketball scene.
Stop hitting me.
Kingpin is here. He talks to Elektra's dad. Kingpin is gone. Thanks, Michael. Glad you showed up for work. Blah, blah, blah. More bullshit. Okay, look, now's as good a time as any to bring this up. This movie is so fucking boring, dude. It's not like there isn't any action on the screen or anything. Like, the plot is moving forward. Just the movie's moving so fast that it's hard to really care. We only barely have an idea of who Matt Murdock really is outside of the fact that his dad died and he likes killing sex offenders. That last part isn't a problem, don't take it that way. It just isn't a whole lot to get me to care about this dumb cracker. Even during the flashback, we only barely saw him interact with his dad. We don't get to see their connection. He just tells Matt, "Oh, you better hit those books, kid. Don't be a bum like me." And then he dies. He doesn't even say anything to him in the hospital. He just hugs him. Talk to your son, you fucking deadbeat.
He was on his way to the police when...
Obviously, I'm not asking to watch these characters' entire morning routine, though you do see Matt's, but you gotta give me something here. We didn't see Kingpin do anything. He just talks. Just talks threateningly, but we don't see any actual action from him. Inversely, here's the best character in the movie.
I said...
This is Bullseye. Couldn't tell you why he's called that. Bullseye, played by Colin Farrell, is the most entertaining character in this movie, and it's not even close. Colin Farrell's manic energy combined with his dead-eyed, creepy fuckhead gaze just grabs your attention and never lets go. He's awesome.
You're good, baby. I'll give you that. But me... I'm magic.
Truthfully, every actor in this movie's good. I actually really like Ben Affleck's Matt Murdock. Michael Clark Duncan is Michael Clark Duncan. Hard to complain about that. Jon Favreau is even good as Foggy for all 4 scenes he's in. I actually really like the cafe scene with them. I think John and Ben have really good chemistry together.
Mr. Lee is a good man, and he doesn't have a lot of money, and he goes fishing on the weekends, so I guess that's...
Yeah, well, I go salsa dancing on the weekends, but I don't shake my ass to pay my phone bill, you know what I'm saying?
But, like, it's weird, though. I feel like he should have been in more of the movie. Like, Foggy is a pretty important character to Matt Murdock's story. Ah, well. I guess the only real complaint I have with the casting is Jennifer Gardner as Elektra, but that's not really on her per se, more so the way they chose to adapt her. Elektra in the comics has her nurturing side, sure, but she's very much a cold, ruthless killer. A woman with almost no remorse for human life. If she wanted you dead, you're dead, buddy. Tough luck. She's killing ya. Gardner's Elektra is just, well, she's nice. You know, she's a pretty chilled out rich girl. Again, not a real issue. It's kind of a pedantic thing to complain about, all things considered, but it's still something I wanted to bring up. What's going on in the movie again? Oh yeah, Kingpin hired Bullseye to kill Elektra's dad. Fuck. Oh yeah, Kingpin hired Bullseye to kill Elektra. Just bonk. This whole sequence kicks ass, by the way. Just loud ass early 2000s rock blaring over Daredevil's stupid leathery ass running up to Bullseye and doing the other flash kick. There it is. I told you it's there. And it's also the death. Papa Nachios is now dead. And in saying that, yeah, the guy's died. And she blames Daredevil, not knowing that he's Matt. Matt and Elektra share a tender moment at the funeral, but Elektra's too far gone. She blames Daredevil for the death of her father due to only seeing him during the fight. How she managed to do that, I'll never know, but she blames him. Matt tries to reason with her, but she leaves, leaving Matt heartbroken and dejected. Hi, Kevin Smith. After realizing Matt Murdock is Daredevil because he uses his billy clubs and his walking cane as the same thing like a dumbass, that's a thing from the comics. It's really not a big deal. It's fine. It's comic logic. It's like complaining about Clark Kent's glasses. Ben goes up to Matt and tells him, hey, Kingpin doesn't stop at killing just a guy. He kills like the whole family. So Matt realizes Bullseye's gonna go after Elektra on orders of the Kingpin, which leads us to literally the only thing people remember this movie for. They put it in Fortnite. Daredevil, Elektra, and Bullseye all somehow converge on top of each other, and Hornhead and Elektra start fighting, with Elektra stabbing him right in the shoulder and realizing, oh shit, oh no, that's Matt, oh no, and then Bullseye just fucking drops Elektra like a sack of shit. Oh yeah, we were still in the flashback, by the way. Now it's the present time and Bullseye just kind of shows up and does this.
Let's play.
Why did he let him do that? Your fucking radar sense couldn't see that, dumbass? The final showdown between Daredevil and Bullseye is honestly really fun. There's a lot of good choreography, a lot of neat little set pieces. I like them fighting on top of the giant-ass fucking Warhammer pipe organ. Is it realistic that they're jumping all over the place like superhumans? No, not at all, but also, shut up. Learn how to appreciate the magic of cinema, you dumb cow. Sometimes stuff can just look cool.
My hands! My hands!
Oh, right, Kingpin is in this movie. This is the whole fight, by the way. Wilson Fisk just throws Daredevil against the wall, and Daredevil just kind of gets water on him and breaks his legs. And, that's it. Yeah, Daredevil just kind of ends.
A guardian devil.
Oh, that's the thing drawn by the sex predator. This movie isn't good. It's not. It's poorly paced, underdeveloped, and it's just so boring. Oh my god, dude, it's so boring. It legitimately feels like half the movie is missing. We have no reason to care about any character outside of Matt and maybe Elektra. And even then, they didn't really have a strong focus outside of, what, like a sex scene between the two? I want to make it clear, too, that the reason this movie is bad is not because it's inaccurate to the source material. Because if anything, it's surprisingly faithful. At least towards Miller's work. The flashback sequence is clearly based off of Man Without Fear, and there are visual references all over the place, and I'm sure even more that I've missed because I haven't read every single run. The writer and director, Mark Steven Johnson, is clearly a huge fan of the characters, so what happened here? Well, remember when I said it felt like half the movie was missing? I wasn't that far off. Daredevil is not a complete movie. It's missing 30 minutes. 30 fucking minutes. And you can watch it in the director's cut. And you know what? It's pretty alright, man. I'm not going to go into every single difference between the theatrical and director's cut, but just know that I vastly prefer the director's cut. But I at least want to talk about what it actually adds. Do you remember when I complained that Matt and Jack's relationship doesn't feel fleshed out? Well, in the director's cut, you actually see them act like father and son. They give real context for why Matt was in a construction area. He was trying to find him because Jack used to work there, but then he finds out he was fired, and then he sees him. He and Jack also share a small but tender moment in the hospital. They actually talk to each other. They even extend his walkout to the boxing match. Why were these cut out? Oh yeah, also, did you know Matt Murdock is a lawyer? You know, a lawyer. His job, the thing the movie shows is his job. You remember how they only had like the one courtroom scene in the college study room, wherever that was? Yeah, guess what? They cut out an entire courtroom-based B-plot. Not only were the courtroom scenes supposed to tie into the main plot, but it also gave characters like Ben Ulrich and Foggy Nelson more to do. You got to see more of Ben's inquisitiveness and drive, and you actually got to see Foggy and Matt be friends and co-workers. Oh yeah, by the way, Matt and Foggy's client, you want to know who their client is?
Coolio!
Coolio? You thought Coolio was unnecessary, but you wanted to add a friggin' sex scene in the theatrical cut? Why'd you do that? He's like the best part of the friggin' director's cut.
And it was there that you passed out from drinking. Is that correct? Smoking weed mostly.
The whole thing is like this. So many little things that add so much to the experience. Is the movie perfect? No, not really. The plot is still pretty basic, but it sure is a hell of a lot more bearable and entertaining. It feels like a real movie, and I really do believe if this was the version that got released in theaters, people would have liked it way more. It has more references to the comics, and it's just... it makes you give a shit about the characters. I cannot stress enough that everyone is so boring in the theatrical version. Alright, so why did they do this? Why did they butcher a perfectly fine movie and give it ADHD pacing? This fucking guy, that's why.
There's value as a lover of film, as a lover of certain actors and actresses, as a Daredevil fan, to see some of the other ideas that were thought about that weren't ultimately chosen to be in the final theatrical cut of the film. I think that's a fun, interesting experience, but that's not the movie. The movie is Daredevil that was released last year in the theaters, and you can buy on the other DVD.
Fuck guys like this, I hate his guts, man. This movie got hacked to pieces in the editing phase because they wanted to make the movie fast-paced so it could appeal to a general audience. They thought people would get bored with the slow, dialogue-heavy scenes, and they wanted them to just get to the action. Now look, I'm not a movie executive. I don't know how movie production works. I understand that certain decisions have to be made in order to ship a movie. But even a schmuck like me knows that if you want to appeal to a general audience, you don't fucking cut Coolio out of your movie! I 100% blame Daredevil's bad qualities on the producers. Mark Steven Johnson is clearly a huge fan of the character, combining various elements from all of his runs at the time, so many little visual cues, so many little things that just shows how much he really likes Daredevil, and I am so upset for him that the movie got treated the way it did. I really, really wish it was given a fair shake. But, you know, at least it didn't kill his career. You know, like, he went on to direct and write more movies. He went on to do... Okay. least you got a Netflix movie. So, that's Daredevil. And what are we left with? An unfocused movie that was hacked apart with a chainsaw, a decent director's cut that outshines the original, and a sequel, Elektra, a movie so bad that the copy I bought at an antique mall was filled with bug shit and dead roaches. You want me to talk about that? No! Oh yeah, you got a video game, I guess. Yeah, remember when I said that Daredevil never got any video games? I lied! I fooled you! He did get one! On the Game Boy Advance. Developed by Kryptonite Games and published by Encore Software, Daredevil was brought into the world without our consent on February 4th, 2003. Just 10 days before the movie. Who are Kryptonite Games? I don't know. They made Shinobi on 3DS. Encore are the guys that publish Zumbinis. Now, it's not uncommon for superhero franchises to get video games, especially if they have a movie coming out. And a lot of them are decent. I wouldn't call them classics, but they're okay. So, how does Daredevil stack up against something like Iron Man, Exo Manowar, and Heavy Metal? Not well. Daredevil GBA is really boring, actually. Is it bad? No. It's really dull. It's just a box standard side-scrolling beat-em-up. But it's not... it's fine. The game consists of 23 levels and can be completed in roughly 2 hours, maybe less if you're really blasting through it. While the game takes its character designs from the movie, it is not an adaptation. It instead tells an original story of Daredevil being framed as a Kingpin lackey with characters from his rogues gallery coming in to fight him. We of course have Elektra, Bullseye, Kingpin, all using their movie designs of course, but we also have some characters from the comics, such as the immortal hand assassin Kirigi, the King of the Sewers, Echo, and even Daredevil's mentor Stick. Being a GBA game, Daredevil doesn't exactly have the most robust moveset. You have a standard 3-hit combo that just chooses to connect whenever it wants, a Billy Club attack that you can chain into combos, a jump kick, a 2-hit dash attack. You can also find a Billy Club power-up that lets you throw one to stun enemies for a free combo. God, game, you're spoiling me. It's standard, but it works for the most part. Daredevil also has his radar sense, which changes the color of your surroundings, but all you really use it for are for finding hidden collectibles and stages whenever the lines appear over his head. It's a cute mechanic, I guess, and it does actually come into play with the final boss. Oh yeah, the final boss is Kingpin, spoilers, where it shows you they have to kick him in the head, but I wish it came into play more. The only little quirk I found about the combat was that the grunt enemies are really easy to stun lock if you don't complete the full standard combo. For some reason, and I don't know why, certain enemies don't register the second or third hit of the standard combo, but will stay in their hit state for a bit, essentially letting you land an infinite combo on them. This is especially true for the Yakuza enemies. I dare you to die to these guys. One thing I kinda like is that the little DD emblems you could find in the stages unlock some extras in the game, like the most badass wallpaper you will ever see, character bios, comic covers, and even comic accurate costumes for Daredevil, Elektra, Bullseye, and Kingpin. Oh no! Oh no! They whitewashed Michael Clark Duncan. Ooh. I don't know. Other than that, it's just fine. It's boring, but it's fine. The bosses are funny at least. Is it a bad game? No, but Also, kinda. It's boring, and it's really short, like really short. Like, seriously, like 2 hours long, like I said. And that's, even for GBA, that's kind of pathetic. These games retail for like 30, 40 bucks back then, so yeah, not great value there. It's not broken, I guess, but oh god, it's so dull. But you know, something is weird, isn't it? Why is this the game we got? Big budget movies, especially superhero movies, always got a console licensed game back then. Even Blade got a PS1 game. I mean, no offense to the GBA, but Daredevil always struck me as a PS2 guy because he's just such a badass. What's up with that? Well, the thing is, we were going to get a Daredevil console game, but due to mismanagement, missed deadlines, and corporate clashing, the game never came into fruition, and outside of a single gameplay video, was thought to be lost forever. Anyways, here it is.
In case you hadn't noticed, pal, you're blind.
Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, no relation to the comic, was going to be developed by 5000 Foot Inc. and still published by Encore Software. Instead of it being a singular adaptation of a particular Daredevil story, it was going to tell an original one, much like the GBA game actually, except this has more ties to the comic as opposed to the movie. Originally going to be a celebration of the character, 5000 Foot Inc. actually began development before they learned about the movie, only learning of its existence after the project was greenlit. Now, before I go on, I want to preface this by saying that all of my information about this game is coming from the excellent Unseen 64 video by Liam Robinson, the Hidden Palace Zone, and the Lost Media Wiki. All three of these places do a better job of explaining this game's history than I ever could, and I highly encourage you all to visit them. All the links will be in the description, as well as a link to the ROM. No, I am not linking an emulator. I'm not a narc. This game has a very long and tumultuous development history, but to summarize it the best I can, 5000 Foot Inc. wanted to celebrate Daredevil's comic history up to that point, and even got the blessing from both their publisher and Marvel themselves. This game began development not only before the movie, but before the first Spider-Man movie game. But after getting word that Fox acquired the film rights to the character, Encore wanted them to release it on multiple consoles, because it was originally going to just be a PlayStation 2 game, and when you have a movie license game, you want to release it to as many SKUs as humanly possible. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but console manufacturers are kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, especially Sony. See, after a few solid months of production, the team soon faced a multitude of issues during development, such as opting to create their own engine instead of paying for Criterion's renderware engine, and being torn between pleasing Marvel's strict licensing guidelines and Sony's constant suggestions, turning the game into something that wasn't promised. This, combined with missing their initial release date, eventually eroded the relationship between 5000 Foot Inc. and Marvel, causing them to pull the license away, effectively killing the project. After that, the game just faded into obscurity, with only a gameplay video uploaded by Past to Present Online and the aforementioned Unseen 64 video being the only main examples of the game existing, outside of a few advertisements and press teasers. Then, on October 31st, 2023, a mostly completed prototype was dumped online thanks to Casually Noted, who received it from an anonymous 5000 Foot Inc. developer. The ROM was put into a playable state thanks to another user by the name of Solid Snake 11. This was insane for a multitude of reasons, least of all the fact that the game was mostly complete. I couldn't wait to try this. So, without further ado, after 20 years, here it is, Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. The game opens with a cinematic explaining the game's story, which I'll let play movie now.
The kidnapping was the start of it. My friend and law partner, Foggy Nelson, went missing. Since college, I'd been his protector whenever he got in over his head. But his abduction was unprovoked. No controversial case, no enemies, no warning. It had to be the Kingpin. He knows my identity behind this mask. It's a long story, but he has every reason to make my life and the lives of my loved ones difficult. If he had Foggy, I had to go find out what he wanted. I tracked Kingpin to his favorite restaurant, a hole-in-the-wall joint in Hell's Kitchen. No sign of Foggy, but that would have been too easy. As I watched him enter the building, I recognized someone's perfume. Of course, she had to show up. Elektra. She had to have some information about Foggy, and that meant convincing her to help me, which is never easy. I didn't have time to ponder this before she got into it with the Kingpin's men. On my way down to the street, I think I heard the bomb's trigger mechanism click into place as the restaurant the Kingpin was in was reduced to dust. The Kingpin of crime is dead.
It's very weird playing this. I gotta admit, I've never actually played a prototype for a video game before, so I don't really know what to look for. Oh. I guess that. If it isn't obvious, the game is rough. Undercooked. Is that bad? I mean, no, obviously. I shouldn't even be playing this. It's a miracle the thing runs as well as it does in the first place. The first level is just a tutorial to introduce the controls and mechanics for the game. Funnily enough, the controls remind me a lot of the Neversoft Spider-Man games. Square and triangle do light and heavy attacks. You have a targeting system complete with a zoom-in function. You have your jump kicks. You even have a little double jump. It's pretty simple on the surface. And then you get to the radar sense and it's just Arkham Detective Vision? Like actually, by the press of a button, you can activate Daredevil's radar sense and you can see through walls to find enemies, you can see points of interest, you can even like throw your billy clubs with more accuracy. It's really cool and I'm impressed that it's in here. Like I never thought like I would see a PS2 game does this. If there's a PS2 game that has done this, I don't fucking know about it. Don't bully me. Leave me alone. You also have a dedicated swing button. By pressing R2, you can swing off of certain surfaces, and double tapping the button will let you use it as a zip line. You can even grind on rails and power lines. Fun fact, Marvel didn't like that they added grinding to this game. They said it didn't fit with Daredevil's character. Counterpoint, here's him doing it in the movie. Fuck you, Marvel. This is a pretty robust moveset for a pre-Spider-Man 2 superhero game. The only problem is, like, actually controlling it. See, walking around is fine, but because this is still a prototype, a lot of things weren't ironed out yet. Firstly, the camera's horrendous, dude. It just magnetizes the Daredevil's back and will always snap back no matter how much you move it with the right stick. It can make platforming excruciating. Oh, just you fucking wait. There's a lot to say about that. It's disorienting. It's like it throws you for a loop when you're in the middle of a fight. I guess that's what the targeting system is for, but good lord. Also, every button press is on a half-second delay, so combos don't really flow all that well. Plus, again, the jumping... Let's just wait on that, okay? I guess they wanted Matt to be deaf, too. All right, Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Okay. Alright, yeah, that's the big thing about the prototype. It has 10 levels, but not all of them actually work. They will either hard crash the ROM or send you to the memory card menu. A thing I didn't even know emulators were capable of doing. So yeah, unfortunately, we have to skip Chapter 2, but thankfully, the prototype lets you select any level you want, so we can go straight to Chapter 3. Dinner with Electra. Also, most of the chapters have this little guy as an icon.
I tracked Electra to a high-rise downtown. So did Kingpin's man. With her and I at the scene of their boss's murder, they probably figured we had a hand in it. And it looked like they wanted some payback. Electra looked like she wasn't going to hold back this time.
Okay, I know this is clearly an unfinished cutscene, but I really vibe with what they're doing here, man. The harsh lighting with the bright blue sky looks really nice. And you know what? The guy that got to voice Daredevil isn't half bad. I really like this. So this is our first boss fight, and I forgot to mention that this game has really awesome music. Do I think it fits the style of Daredevil? No, but neither did Seether, and you didn't hear me complaining about it during the movie portion, now did ya? Anyways, I'm getting shot at by every mobster in New York City, and not only do they infinitely respawn, I also have to deal with Electra. This makes the fight way more frustrating than it needs to be, because while you're struggling to fight Miss Nachios, your health bar is getting a nice lethal dose of lead. And when her health gets low enough, a health pack will spawn on the helipad at the bottom of the stage, and she makes a fucking beeline for it. And you better hope that you're faster than her, because if you aren't, you lose all that damage progress. But, thankfully, I'm a stubborn man, and after getting my combo meter to its fullest, a thing you will not see too often, I unlock my, devil trigger? And that lets me deal extra damage to even the playing field. Even with that, though, I still end up struggling a bit. I got knocked off the building right when I got her on the ropes. Lucky for me, if there's one thing Electra's good at, it's dying. She just self-destructs and I win. I don't know what happened.
I asked her what she had gotten herself into. She said she was told to be at that restaurant by an anonymous third party as part of a new contract, but she had nothing to do with the explosion. I told her that Foggy was missing. She said she'd keep an eye out, and that I'd better go stop the gang war that was about to erupt. Without the Kingpin around to keep the peace, there was bound to be trouble.
Oh god, that gang war. This shit fucking sucks, dude. And it's when I started to lose my patience with the prototype. Chapter 4 exemplifies every problem I have with the platforming in this game. See, your goal is to beat every Hammerhead and Silvermane grunt in the level, but you need to make it down first. And of course, this game has fall damage. My favorite! Now you need to destroy this circuit breaker before you go on the power lines, and it would be nice if I could, get on them! Matt loves to magnetize to railings, which can be helpful unless you're trying to get on something else. See, Daredevil having a double jump is great and all until you realize he has no control of himself in the air, meaning it is very easy to overshoot and undershoot jumps, which leads to eventually, I am able to get myself onto the ground, where I proceed to get jumped by several goons and get lead poisoning via
intracerebroventricular
injection. It took me hours to beat gang war. I had to slowly pick off every goon one by one as meticulously as possible, making sure to take as little damage as I could. Every billy club throw, every jump kick, every melee attack, Planned to the T. Well thought out. Fucking done to the last detail. I'm eventually greeted by the big goon on campus. You want to know how I beat this prick? Didn't even get a cutscene for beating this. Fuck you, Hammerhead. Hey guys, quick update. So while editing this, I found out that I could have saved myself a migraine by just using Daredevil's radar sense. Turns out it slows down enemy projectiles. That's neat. That is really cool. That would have been nice to know back when I recorded all this shit back in November. In all seriousness, this is actually a really neat mechanic and kind of the thing I was talking about back in the GBA section with Daredevil's radar sense, but it's also a bit disorienting because of the color choices, the filter, and the way the camera moves around, but it's still really cool. Anyways, back to the video. We're going to the sewer. Oh no, not the sewers.
I could recognize Foggy's scent, and his trail took a foul turn into the sewers. I'd had cases lead into the sewer before. The creatures down there were unpleasant at best, but I didn't realize the extent of the evil I was facing.
Oh, get ready, boys and girls. We're getting dirty. We're in the sewers now, looking for Foggy, and the problems are just stacking up at this point, man. The area is so claustrophobic, and of course, there are pits. But now, there are just enemies that throw bombs. It's stupid and frustrating, but I guess I can plow my way through it, is what I would say if I could beat the damn thing. See, you have to find Foggy's stuff, at least, I think. I don't know. So I collect his wallet, and a briefcase, and a lucky pen. In between getting my ass handed to me by hand ninjas. And I'm about to grab the next item when I see it's just down a pit. You can't get it. I can't get it. If I try, I'll fucking die. I try to move ahead in the level, and I can't, so... Fuck it, chapter 7.
Something smelled worse than the rest of this place, if that was possible. Then, I heard that terrible noise.
This level is a lot like Gang War, where it took me way too long to beat because of the crazy difficulty. It's just another gauntlet stage with platforming and grinding, which should be fun. A lot of things should be fun. That doesn't mean they are. Once again, after an obscene amount of gaming, I finally reach the Sewer King. Daredevil has the shittiest rogue gallery of all time, dude. I know I haven't read every single comic, but why the fuck is this guy in both games? He was only in issue of Frank Miller's run and like 5 in the 90s. What, was Stiltman not available? I start by pelting him with a barrage of Billy Club strikes and leading him into explosive barrels, but what you really need to do is activate all the switches found around his arena. Doing so will activate the generator in the water and electrify the ground. You're on a timer and will shut off, but as long as you're quick and you make sure the Sewer King is in the water, you'll fry his ass to a crisp. Fuck you. Go away. Don't come back, you fucking jobber. You and Karigi.
Bullseye's calling card. And it had Foggy's scent on it. My friend was in more trouble than I thought. My mortal enemy Bullseye was involved.
Well, we aren't going there yet. First, we gotta pay a visit to the Rose. Never mind. It's one of the levels that doesn't load. Huh, you know what? I actually wonder if this works. Oh, yes it does. Yes it does. Ignore that. That's for something else. Another time, perhaps. Bullseye! Bullseye! Bullseye.
Bullseye.
So the goal for this level is to get to the bottom of the area so you can free Elektra because she's getting her clock cleaned by Bullseye. You know, the usual. But you're getting assaulted by more goddamn stupid hand ninjas. You can try to climb down level by level, but you're just going to find more ninjas, maybe collectibles, but like, whatever, who cares? The collectibles don't mean anything, it's a prototype. You're just gonna end up getting assaulted by the Hidden Leaf Village again and again, and the camera just makes this whole section unbearable. Why can't I aim down without it shooting back straight ahead? So you wanna know what I did? I just jumped to the bottom. That's it. I just jumped. Make sure you zip line to the ledges. But that's it. Just jump down, man. Save so much time. You're still gonna end up aggroing every ninja in the level, but, and I shit you not, if you just run around the electrified cage, they'll just run into it and take damage and die. Because thank God it hurts them too. Just use that to kill every ninja in the stage, and you'll be fine. After you ensure Electra's escape, you'll finally have the chance to go one-on-one with the man himself. And by that I mean he's surrounded by ninjas, because of course he is. Now, normally, I'd be scared. Except Bullseye doesn't move until you get close to him. So, guess what I can do? You know, sometimes it's nice to feel like you've won. Eventually, Bullseye decides to wake up from his nap and realize he's about to die. So he tries to escape, and I am not letting that shit happen, man. This level gave me so much crap. I refuse to let him chicken out. His ass is done. I don't care if there were more ninja around. I follow him all the way to the top of the level and take out his stupid hand ninja and realize he's not moving. Like at all. I throw more billy clubs at him and he just falls to the bottom. I go down to follow him and he's just walking towards a burning trash can. He's not dying, doesn't even have any health left. He's just stuck. I can't beat the level. He soft blocked me. Bullseye won. He really is magic. He's fucking dark magic! The worst part about this is that the final chapter, Redemption, doesn't even work. So this is how my playthrough ends. Not with a feeling of accomplishment or even crushing defeat, but cruel indifference. I never found Foggy. I didn't save the city. I didn't even get to fight Kingpin. The game is over, and all I have left is the visual of the world's greatest assassin hugging a burning trash can.
So how did you like my friend Daredevil?
I actually like this demo a lot. I know I've been clowning on it, and yeah, by all accounts, the damn thing is a broken mess, but like, it should be. It ain't done. I can see what 5000 Foot Inc. were trying to do, and I think if they were allowed to finish what they started, we could have had a pretty good game here. If the game had a better camera system and the jump physics were loosened a bit and it had snappier, more precise controls, we could have had a pretty darn good superhero game, all things considered. Maybe not a classic, but at least one people look fond on. But all we're stuck with is a preview of what could have been. And I still think that's pretty cool. Well, where are we now? It's 2024, and Daredevil still has yet to have another game all to himself. But that doesn't mean he hasn't been in any. In fact, he's been in a lot of stuff. Games like Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects, all 3 Ultimate Alliance games, all 3 Lego games, even Fortnite. He got in the Fortnite before Spider-Man did. And as for stuff outside of video games, come on, you know how he's doing. Fuck you, Kevin Feige.
He's history's greatest monster!
What do I think of all this? I don't know, I just like that guy. Matt Murdock is a really interesting comic book character, and I'm glad he's getting all this outside media attention. But I do kind of wish he had his own game. That PS2 prototype, undercooked as it may be, showed me that the Man Without Fear has plenty of potential to be the leading man in his own game. Oh well.
Man can dream, can he?
Hey, okay, so the original ending I recorded for this video kind of sucks, so I'm back here, and you're gonna have to deal with it. Also, I lost the long sleeve. I don't know where it is. First off, I just want to say thank you for being so patient with me. This video was not supposed to take this long to make. These still look like shit, by the way. I didn't learn how to wrap them. This was supposed to be out at the very least December. I don't know what happened. I don't give a shit. I do this for fun. Also, before I go, I just want to recommend some Daredevil comics that I've personally read. Daredevil's been around for like 60 years, I think. And a lot of people would like to get into his stuff because they like the Netflix show or the 2 seconds he was in Spider-Man No Way Home, but they don't really know where to start. My personal recommendation, Daredevil, The Man Without Fear by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. 5-issue miniseries, perfectly retells his origin story. It is what a lot of Daredevil media is kind of based on, because originally he was like a teenager when his dad got killed, but in Man Without Fear, he's a child. So I think that's the best new contemporary way to get into Daredevil, because it kind of, you know, gets you up to speed. Really, Frank Miller's entire run is fantastic. Also, not so much Daredevil related, but Daredevil adjacent. I gotta fix this. Elektra Lives Again by Frank Miller and...
Live Farley. I said the wrong name.
The art for that book is phenomenal, beautiful, dreamlike. Same can be said for Elektra Assassin. A lot of people like that one a lot. It's not my jam, but that's also, like, a really, really good book. I've heard great things about the Daredevil run by Ed Brubaker, the Chip Zdarsky run, but, you know, like I said, I haven't necessarily read those, so I can't really tell you a whole lot about them. Well, I mean, I've read the Brubaker run, but it's not a whole lot. I read it when it was coming out. But also, just, like, read around. Take recommendations. Just, like, look shit up. Comics are great. Comics are awesome. I love comic books. I love comic book, like, superheroes. There's more than superheroes, but, you know, I love this shit. I like Daredevil, like, a lot, so that's why I wanted to make this video. Other than that, thank you for watching if you made it this far. I hope I never make a video this long again in my fucking life. Fuck that. I'm not gonna be fucking an 8-hour YouTube video essayist. That shit sucks. Making a long video sucks. Don't fucking do it! Email bigguysforlittlefellas@gmail.com. Daredevil flavored cock.